Hello to a new video. Today is Sunday the 12th of June 2016. It is currently 12:37 Central European Time. This video is aimed at glory hunters, and we'll get to the glory hunters a little later though. I just want to briefly explain how this video comes about, really, what made me feel like recording this video. Yesterday I noted, and they also had the same on today, I noted on ex-Austrian public television, ORF, how they are doing hour-long specials on the Trooping the Color ceremonies over in London at the moment. And this really chimes and is in a group of obvious activities by the local Fex Mundi to establish monarchistic longings and thinking, and oh gee, wouldn't it be awesome if we had monarchy again, and so on and so forth, in the minds of the local population, and at the same time always have religion along. It is very apparent over these last months and months and months how monarchic documentations and all manners of channels, magazines published newly, and so on and so forth, how they're severely pushing monarchy and how they're pushing all religions, religiosity as such, and so on and so forth. At the center, of course, Christianity, but really they utilize some non-Christian religiosity as an excuse to just topic religiosity and religion as such. Monarchy and religion being severely pushed onto the minds of the people in ex-Austria, Freiland, I take it. And that just made me, because it has to do, as we know, with the Queen, of course, and yesterday there was Bonnie Fuck Prince Charles himself riding on a horse right behind her coach, and also the very green color, which I guess was a nod of the head to the football European Championship, but just because that green next to Philip's red with a bit of blue uniform in the coach is the three colors of Freiland. No, I don't think they addressed the Freiland colors, so to speak, but still, it was a nice coincidence, and so it just got me thinking about the useless piece of shit Prince Charles again, and just generally all the insanity that for decades and decades and decades has been allowed to grow all over Europe and all over the world. Insanity down the line of claim to leadership completely based on pseudoscience, irrationality, mumbo-jumbo things, religious things, and so on and so forth, and the systematic attacks against all things true, against truth as such, against actual real science and such, and so on and so forth. And I realized, part of the problem is, of course, the legions and legions and legions of willing executioners and armed, be they actually armed or not, but armed slaves that Fex Mundi has at their disposal. I realized that when it comes to the military, specific agencies in particular in the military, because the broad military, those parading there, for instance, they're not part of any agency, they're fighting units, and they're just completely and utterly enslaved, and they have a really insane worldview planted into their heads, and so on and so forth. So with them maybe not, but with all those who are with agencies in or with secret services, subsets of armed forces, it occurred to me that something probably hasn't occurred to you. Namely, in the field of military, decorations are something that a lot of these people, I guess most of those people, just accept it as part of their activities, but there are some people who probably long for decorations in a not even negative way. I mean, I know that the term glory hunting is not typically referring to military decorations, but in a non-derogatory term, even a medal is glory successfully hunted down, if you will. So I address with this video all those in military services who at least understand what glory is. if you take it out of each and all, and any religious connections, glory as such. And it occurred to me that some of you people in these services, and I know you have horrendous content in your head forced upon you, and your entire thinking is running on certain tracks that you did not lay yourself. I am aware of that. I will make in the near future a video where I talk a little about the infantry and so on and so forth. But even at this point, I want to give you the following to consider and think through. With all the insanity out there, with all these lies out there, for, if you round it up liberally, for almost a century, don't you understand what absolutely actual legitimate glory would be and could be found if you were to choose the side of mankind? I am the prime protector of mankind. I am sanity. If you were to at all, even a little bit, think through what glory would come your way if you were to abandon your ways of being willing executioners for Fex Mundi. And I know that some of you are enslaved and not willing, but there are a lot of willing amongst you. Even those, maybe in particular those who are willing, because they are not completely subjected and enslaved, so with them, paradoxically, that might actually be even easier to achieve. If you were to wrap your head around the realization of what immense, unspeakable glory would come your way if you were to choose to be a champion of mankind, if you were to choose to support me in protecting mankind, if all of you were to choose to become protectors of mankind. I am prime protector of mankind. I've explained the logic behind it. I've explained what that means. I explained that I'm zero. You would not get a number. This is not recruiting as such. It was just your own, my urging you to think through what glory would lie your way if you were to realize that all of these ongoings for decades and decades and decades are so laughably grotesque and endanger all mankind, that the glory that would await you if you were to understand that mankind needs to be defended were of unbelievable extent and amount and magnitude. How you could be, if you were to become active for mankind and support me as the prime protector of mankind, how there would be all kind of glory coming your way. Glory that no one could ever bereave of you again. Glory that is not based on abusing mankind. Glory that is not based on farcical activities acted out in the world, like all wars over the last 80 years were actual, true glory to be found by supporting and defending mankind, by becoming protectors of mankind. And once you wrap your head around that glory. Now, of course, glory is something that, I do want to be realistic here. You know, there's a lot of veterans, for instance, who got whatever medal, but basically, once they're out of service, maybe find it hard to find a job or whatnot, so you can't buy anything for that glory. No. It's just that that glory you might have been accustomed to so far in form of military medals and shit like that, is pretty shallow and cheap glory, and is based on nothing but lies and manipulation and the enslavement of all mankind, leading all the way up to the in-progress extinction of all mankind. The glory that I am talking about is glory of a nature that will make your mind reel upon you coming to realize what degree of glory we're actually talking about. Okay? So, what are you to do? All of you services with access to these technologies, bullet. I know this is not quite a bullet. This is, in the olden days they might have fired shit like that. Count it, one bullet through each head of Fex Mundi. That is all it takes. One bullet. Find out who uses these technologies. Go shoot them dead. That is all it takes. One fucking bullet. Costing you a few cents. One bullet each head is all it takes. If you have at all a heart, and with that I'm not talking about bleeding hearts and things like that. Your heart need not be bleeding. You just ought to have one. And the truth is, even though all the manipulation might have made you forget that you have one, you have one. And if your heart at all still can ever be cleansed of what all they shoved into your head throughout the course of your lives, then I assure you, you will find that your heart is still there. And your heart will help you in coming to understand what glory awaits you. As the Prime Protector, and actually in this particular case not as the Prime Protector of mankind, but as Prime Minister of Thailand, you may or may not know that we have some ceremonial, more than ceremonial actually, some actual real reintroduction of swords in Thailand in the future. I can promise you, as a material gesture, nothing more, that all those who choose to become protectors of mankind and come to my aid when it comes to defending mankind and liberating mankind once and for all of all Fex Mundi in the world, you will get a sword. And I don't mean a little sword for the chain around your neck. I mean, Thailand will present you with a sword, and it will moreover present you with a couple of liberties to actually, so you please and are interested in it, carry around your sword, even if you are from foreign countries where maybe there are certain laws against that. Thailand will see to it that diplomatically you get the right to carry that sword. We will supply, Thailand will supply all those who come to protect mankind, who come to the aid of mankind, with an actual sword. It will be not something bejeweled and of incredible value really, it will be a rather simplistic sword, but it will be something we will call protector swords. And each of you will be presented a protector sword if you choose to defend mankind. Understand that what you choose to defend then and what you choose to fight for then is sanity. Those who oppose sanity oppose sanity. Period. Just become aware of the fact that all those out there who oppose sanity oppose sanity. Understand how that is a fundamental principle. Understand, to quote Roddy Piper again, understand that just because people walk on two legs does not make them human. They're not anything beyond human, they're just inhuman. That's all they are. Using inhuman technologies to enslave all mankind, including all of you. One bullet, one single bullet, through one fucking Fex Mundi head is all it takes. And if you get put to prison, Thailand will come to get you out of there once mankind is liberated. Okay? Choose, not choose, it's not even a question of choice. Once you realize what unspeakable glory awaits you, and once more, I address those who understand a neutral glory in the sense of a calm accepting of military honors being part of the job, but even those who actively hunt for glory, maybe because they're suckers for glory, don't you see what opportunity is there, right? I think you're doing it for the wrong reason, but the thing is you're doing the right thing for a slightly wrong reason, and as Prime Protector of mankind, I honestly don't give a rat's ass why you choose to defend mankind, okay? As long as you defend mankind, as long as you fight for mankind's liberation. So, do something that deserves you your protector sword. Do something that will bring unimaginable glory your way. Understand, this is very important, and here I address your phases and also your phases and you. Understand that none of this is to be worked on the workings of the virtual appware in your head. I don't want you to, puzzle together a virtual identity descriptor for something like a glory hunter for the Prime Protector of mankind, but I want you to refrain from any abusing the software in your head when it comes to understanding what I'm actually talking about. As an analogy, a whole lot of people's phases out there, I actually have a body description that completely cripples them into something that is hardly recognizable as a human. And the way to correct these body descriptions is just to thinking inwards and remind yourself that they are fully intact human bodies. And the point to understand here is that it is not the placing of a body description of a fully intact human, because that is there by nature. Okay, you remove all body descriptions to arrive back at what you really are, namely a fully intact human, and that also holds true for your phases. And much in the same sense, I don't want you to abuse the shit in your head to... I might regret ever using this word because of all the historic baggage that it brings, but choose to be a crusader for mankind, so to speak. Okay? Not go and slay the Arabs, nothing to do with that, because this holds true for anybody in Arabic, it holds true for the entire world. Okay? In particular, I address all those in military functions and services, but I also address everybody else. This is not only going to the military. And this is not an offer or anything. This is not a recruiting. I just realized, and yeah, I was thinking a lot, and I was listening to some music, and I don't know why, there's no obvious connection, but listening to the Doctor Who soundtrack, they have that on YouTube, to the theme, was the precise moment when it actually dawned on me that, you know, the Prime Protector of Mankind doesn't have a whole lot of helpers, yet the Prime Protector of Mankind thinks that there ought to be helpers, so to speak, namely other protectors of mankind. And I don't mean, well, I think I deserve a few helpers. I mean just by the very nature of what is going on in the world, there ought to be some. And there must be a reason for why there ain't. And even if you take into consideration all of their blocking, each and all thinking that would lead to opposing Fex Mundi, even beyond that point, there must be further explanations why these helpers are not manifesting. Them having hushed up everything is yet another reason, but you know, you can have quite a lot of reason. Always something remains that until very recently, maybe today, earlier, just like half an hour ago or something, I didn't quite figure. And then I realized some of you people out there probably never realized what untold glory lies in protecting mankind. And it is glory that no one will be able to besmirch. It is glory that no critic or cynic could ever besmirch, such as a military honest. There's not going to be a bunch of hippies criticizing your medal. You would be defending mankind. You would be liberating mankind from the clutches of mind-controlling Fex Mundi. So put a bullet through their fucking head. And eventually, Freiland, as a gesture, it's nothing more than that, Freiland will present you with a real sword, not a little one. Of course, if you are, I guess we can have small ones made like this for you to carry around your necklace. If you find a real sword somewhat unpractical, who knows? I guess you can opt for a small one. We will supply you with a protector sword, and you will be able to wear that, and it will be the greatest honor that in the history of mankind was ever to be found. Okay? Understand that. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years of history, no glory was ever so great, no honor was ever so great as that which is there for you to just come and get by becoming active for mankind, by doing away with the lies and with the manipulation, by liberating mankind's minds, by doing away with their paranoia artificially created concerning all things, by doing away with their horrendous pseudoscience and religious mumbo jumbo crap, by just fucking shooting them fucking dead. Okay? And I hope I'm not gonna turn Poland bankrupt now. We're gonna fly you into Vienna for that. So if you've never been to Vienna and never had the money to come to Vienna, the presentation of your sword will happen in Vienna, and I will, so I survive, present this to you personally, okay? So the glory hunters should understand that sanity is sanity, that those who oppose sanity, and that's, as far as I'm concerned, really all it takes to understand that something needs to be done, okay? Don't worry, don't make yourself paranoid about future structures of the, and one thing, sorry, talking about future structures of the world. Liberated mankind will be very pissed, all right, and for all the right reasons. Then again, anger does not lead you anywhere, and they will quickly understand that, especially as I will be there to remind them of that and to explain that for them. But there might be some, and I do have the impression sometimes with all the manipulation going on through the fields here, that Thailand is trying to be portrayed like a Führer state. You know, like for all practical purposes, an empire or something, and with me as the Prime Minister of Thailand as the emperor or something. I do want to point out that Thailand has nothing to do with monarchy or an empire or anything like that. It is all democracy based. And I also understand how hierarchy works, and few people out there do. And an empire is not workable. Monarchy is not workable. Some people, well, most of fixed mundi to this, they don't understand it. Mankind seems to have taken a couple of thousand years to figure there's something wrong with that concept. Well, here I am explaining to you that it's not going to work and it ain't working. And nothing but Thailand is an empire. So don't have concerns about Thailand. Thailand will be the heart of Europe. That's what it will be. But it will also be there for all the world. Okay? I don't mean, you know, bevormundend. I don't know the English word for that. Let's see what the dictionary... Patronizing, there. Thailand is not going to patronize the world. It will be there for the world. And come to understand how the only true glory that ever existed is there for you to be collected. If you do the right thing and choose to defend mankind and become a protector of mankind. Understand that, please.